Welcome back, Crown Corner fam. It's your host, Crown, here, back with another set of stories that are sure to knock your socks off. Whether you're chilling at home, on your way to work, or just taking a break, I've got the perfect mix of wild, weird, and wonderful tales to keep you entertained. So grab your favorite snack, sit back, and let's dive into the crazy world of Crown Corner. And remember, if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Alright, let's get started. Hey there. Boy, do I have a story for you. The day began like any other with me watering my garden. And that's when I first noticed them. A group of builders arriving in their big flashy trucks. They were here to work on my neighbor's house at the end of the street. No big deal, right? Wrong. From the get-go, these guys acted like they owned the place. They parked their trucks smack in the middle of the street, blocking driveways and even a fire hydrant. I remember muttering to myself, well, that's not gonna fly. I decided to have a polite chat with them. Morning, folks. Would you mind moving your trucks? They are blocking the way. I said as neighborly as I could. The response? A burly guy with a I break nails, not rules kind of attitude just grunted, no space anywhere else, buddy. It's just for a day or two. Relax. I tried to reason with him, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Ironic, given their profession. So I did what any concerned citizen would do. I called a non-emergency number for the local police department to inquire about the situation. Hello, officer. I have some builders here blocking driveways and the hydrant. Is there something that can be done? I asked. The officer on the line was sympathetic. We will send someone to assist the situation. Thanks for the heads up. By the afternoon, a patrol car rolled down our street. The officer, a stern-looking woman with a no-nonsense air, approached the builders. I watched from my porch as she spoke to them, but the reaction was a mix of dismissive shrugs and eye rolls. The officer, unimpressed, made a few calls on her radio. An hour later, the real show began. A tow truck arrived, and the look on those builders' faces was priceless. A perfect blend of shock and disbelief. What the heck, you can't do this! One of them protested as their trucks were being hooked up. The officer, calm as ever, replied, You were informed and chose to ignore. This is the consequence. The neighbor who had hired them was livid. She came storming out, her face as red as a tomato. This is outrageous. I hired them. You can just tow their trucks. She yelled, hands on her hips. I approached her, trying to be the voice of reason. They were blocking driveways and a hydrant. It's a safety issue. But she wouldn't have any of it. I don't care. This is going to delay my renovation. The builders, now truckless, were on their phones frantically trying to sort things out. Some neighbors gathered, whispering and shaking their heads, and it was quite the spectacle. In the end, the trucks were towed, and the builders had to carpool in smaller vehicles for the rest of their project, and they parked more considerately after that. I'll give them that. The neighbor who had hired them calmed down eventually, especially after a few neighbors, including myself, talked to her about community rules and safety. Circa 2020 January. My friend makes a stupid decision and buys a brand new car he can't afford. His insurance is like $400 a month, he makes like $10.25 an hour working as a shift supervisor at McDonald's. His car payment is like $795 a month. Now, at $10.25 an hour, 30 hours a week, that's a weekly income of about $300 or about $1,230 a month. So my friend came to me for help because I used to sell cars and know the industry pretty well. I go over his paperwork, the dealer did rip him off, but my friend is trying to find a way to get out of this mess, and ripping someone off isn't illegal. They did of course overcharge him for warranty, they gave him a higher APR, they had add-ons and so on, but none of that is illegal, and I know the only way I can get my friend out of this deal is if they did something illegal. So I looked at his finance applications that my friend signed, and it correctly listed his income, which turned a light bulb on in my head. No bank is going to approve someone for a $795 car payment if they are only making $1,200 a month. It doesn't make mathematical sense to do that. So I started searching through his paperwork for the finance app the dealer submitted to the bank. Oftentimes when you submit a finance application at a dealership, the dealership will take the hand-filled out applications and reproduce it electronically. This is pretty normal. However, on the application the dealer submitted to the bank, the dealer said my friend was a GM of the McDonald's and made $70,000. My friend had good credit, so it doesn't appear like the bank asked for proof of income. So I go to the dealership with my friend until the sales manager is going to want to put me in touch with the GM because we're going to unwind my friend's deal and give his trade-in back. The sales manager thought I was joking. The GM also thought I was joking. Then I demonstrated how his dealership finance department committed bank fraud. I showed the GM the finance app my friend filled out. I then showed the GM the finance app his dealership submitted to the bank and pointed at the income difference. My friend really made $14K a year. The dealership claimed my friend made $70K a year. That's bank fraud. That's a felony. Let's keep this simple, shall we? The GM sees his dealership is in a load of crap. The proof I'm presenting to him is rock solid, and he knows it. I know it. We are all on the same page. He goes, "Okay, what can I do to make this right?" I go, "Unwind the deal, give my friend his trade-in back." Unwinding the deal is basically the GM agreeing to cancel the deal and basically erasing the deal and pretending it never happened. GM tries to avoid that, but I remain firm and remind him we can easily take this documentation and turn his life into a living hell. He knows I'm right. My friend also needs a car to get to work the next day. The GM says he will check into it, and he comes back and tells me unfortunately they sold his trade-in car. I said that's fine, unwind the deal and let's put my friend into something as good or slightly better than what he traded in for. So the GM goes, "So he'll buy a car similar to his trade-in?" I said no, you will give him a car similar to his trade-in. The GM goes, "It doesn't work that way." I go, "It does when you commit bank fraud." The GM is upset with me and I remind him, I am being really nice and the situation can totally get really ugly. Like felony level charges ugly. Like losing your franchise ugly. So yeah, this is going to hurt. But it's going to hurt less my way. So the GM goes alright and he looks in his inventory and he tells me that they have a 2007 Focus with 10K more miles. I tell him no. The car you give my friend needs to be the same or better than what he traded in. The GM counters, "I'm giving him a free car." And I go, "No, you took his trade-in, you sold it, you made money on that sale. You also committed a felony in the process of selling him his new car. You are now correcting that mistake. This isn't a free car for my friend, this is you are correcting your mistake." The GM insists that's what he's willing to do. I tell him that if he can't do better than that, we will go to a consumer protection attorney and have a conversation with them. My friend didn't want to go this route, but it was our plan B. We get up, the GM says, "Wait, give me a second." The GM goes, "I have an '08 Civic. It has 5K more miles, but it's a Civic and not a Focus. I unwind the deal on a new car and put your friend in a Civic at no extra cost." We agree. The GM has a paper drawn up, the old loan on the new car is cancelled, and they take in the new car again. But because it's already titled, they will have to sell it as used. That sucks for them, and they gave my friend a better car than the one he traded in. For people asking why we didn't get a lawyer involved from the start, we could have done that, but courts take a long time, and this was a faster way to fix the situation. I'm a physician, my coworker is a physician, and we practice nephrology somewhere in the USA. We do a lot of visits to dialysis centers along and interstate, 8 of them, and it involves a lot of driving to see the patients while they are on dialysis. The system we work for pays us mileage plus a good salary. Originally, we submitted our own mileage reports and they always approved them. We were not trying to maximize the money. We both just wanted about $1,000 a month to offset wear and tear and gas on a vehicle. We were actually just photocopying the same report each month, signing it and turning it in. The original company we worked for was totally fine with this arrangement. Well, the system got bought by another system who apparently believes all their doctors are thieves. We were told we were scamming them, and from now on, a middle manager will be reviewing our billings and using Google Maps to calculate our mileage each month for us. And this person would make sure we were adhering strictly to their policy for reimbursement. Start from the office each day no matter where you started from. doesn't pay you to drive out somewhere if you didn't see a patient, but just went to sign forms for nurses and other stupidity. Now, I don't like being accused of thievery, especially when I was sure we'd be underbilling for the mileage just to keep things easy and simple. These people don't know me, but I had an Excel sheet with all my patients, their clinics, and a schedule to drive out to them and see them all in as little time and mileage as possible. It was really efficient. So I dove into their travel policy and reconfigured my schedule. Not to minimize mileage, but within their policy to maximize it. As a bonus, a new schedule actually has me home each day for lunch on days I do dialysis rounds, so it saved me a little bit of money and improved my mood. For example, since I started from the office and ended from the office, no matter where you actually start and end, I start my day at the one close to my house but far from the office, and end my day at the one on the other side of town but my girlfriend's house, where I'd usually hang out after work anyway. Midday I'd go for lunch, get a nap or a nooner, and then see a couple people in town so I'd get paid to drive back, and then head out for the regular visits that day. Altogether, my average mileage, far from being less than they expected, is actually 90% greater, and on top of this, they are paying this middle manager to deep dive into all our billing to examine the allocations and compile the report. She said just to do R2, it takes almost 8 hours, an expense they never had before. Context: I work as a merchandiser for a company contracted to handle a very popular US soda brand, as well as some energy drinks and canned coffees. For those who don't know, for certain high-selling items, stores, usually grocery stores but not always, have a hard time keeping up with keeping shelves and displays full. So they contract merchandisers to come and do it for them. Plus, since merchandisers have a more specific set of items to handle, they have more time to make these high-traffic areas look nice. Us merchandisers do not work for the store, though we take some direction from the managers. We wear different uniforms, in my case a t-shirt with the name of our flagship soda, and most importantly do not have access to any of the store systems. I 100% understand why many people think we work for the store. That isn't what this is about. If a customer asks me a question I can answer or help that I can provide, I will help them. If I can't help them, I will explain that I work for a different company and they will have to talk to a store associate. If they are polite or business is slow, I'll help them find one. Most customers take this explanation graciously and apologize before getting help from someone who can help them. This story is about one of the people who couldn't recognize that. The story. It was toward the start of my day, about 6:30 in the morning. The store opened about the time I got there, and the only customers were a couple of early birds getting a start to their day and night shifters grabbing groceries on their way home. Very few people needed carts. Only one register was open with a small line. I was working on restocking the cooler at a register next to the open one. Out of the corner of my eye, I see CG, the chip guy. The chip guy was a middle-aged guy with a cart full of chips. This detail isn't important to the story, but it explains the name I gave him. The chip guy walks up to me. "I'm in a hurry. I need you to open up another register." I look at the line of 2 people at the open register. "I'm sorry, but I work for some soda company, not the store. The cashier available is very good at her job and will be through the line shortly." "I don't have time for that. I need to check out right now. Your precious sodas can wait 30 seconds. "I'm so sorry, sir, but I work for another company. I don't have access to the registers. I can't help you, but she can." I gestured to the cashier, who had moved on to the next customer. "Dumb witch! Haven't you learned by now that the customer was always right? Open that register now, or I will get you fired." As I said, I'm not a store employee. I don't have access to the computer to check you out. "The next register is open." Points to other customer packing their things and leaving. "And she can help you." "Are you dumb, you jerk? I asked you. It's a stupid computer. You push a couple buttons and take my money. A beetle could do your job better than you. This is the reason this country is crap. All you young people are too busy doing drugs, getting piercings, and you won't even learn to use the computers you insist are so important. Just for the record, I don't wear any piercings, nor did I indicate using drugs or anything. I also am about to graduate in cybersecurity, but I didn't bring that up for fear that he would want me to break into the computer. I saw the awesome manager coming up. He's a great manager, and I knew he would back me up. The only reason I hadn't already called for him to back me up is that he usually didn't get in until 7, along with the other managers. He happened to come in early today. In fact, he was still wearing his coat and bag, indicating he hadn't been to his office yet. He asks, "May I help you?" "You need to fire this dumb witch. She's refusing to do her job and check me out." "Sir, that language is highly inappropriate. She works for X company. She's not wearing our store uniform. She doesn't need to put up with your crap, but she has, because she's a good person. If she decided she wanted to work for X store instead, I would hire her in a heartbeat. You have exactly one chance to apologize to OP and check out at the other register. If you don't like that option, you're welcome to get out and get your chips at another store." "You dumb jerk. You N-word are the same. You probably only let the witch stay here because she's your friend. I'm a friend of ex-former store owner, and I will have both of you fired." "Funny, I didn't see you at former owner's funeral. He sold the company years ago when he started having health problems. He hasn't had a say in how this store is run since then. But he's one of the best people I have known. There is no way he could have stood for this. You have cussed out me and OP. You have exactly 3 seconds to leave before I call the police." A chip guy stood there for a second and actually left once the awesome manager went on the phone with the cops. Unfortunately for him, he left with his card. So the awesome manager still got the cops to go after him for theft. Edit, because people are asking the same couple questions. The cops arrived after the guy left, but the awesome manager, being a legend, got a picture of his license plate. The cops came and got our statements and found out who the car was registered to, and after the cops left, the store did an inventory of their small electronics section, the only really valuable stuff in the store, because a dude freaking out over chips and running off with the card is super suspicious. They found that a pair of expensive headphones was missing from the case. Their best guess is that he managed to grab the headphones somehow and buried them in a chip card, hoping that whoever checked them out would be in too much of a hurry to notice the headphones. I had to leave not long after they came to this conclusion. So that is all I know for now. I may have an update when I get into work tomorrow. Update. The police caught the guy last night. The awesome manager stopped by the police station to identify him in a lineup. The missing headphones were still in his car, along with all the chips. I said I would testify as a witness if they needed it, but I probably won't have to. And that, my friends, wraps up another episode here at K-Korner. From unexpected neighborhood dramas to car dealership scandals, life sure has a way of keeping us on our toes, doesn't it? I hope you enjoyed these stories as much as I did sharing them with you. If any of these stories resonated with you, or if you've got a wild tale of your own, don't hesitate to drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Remember to stay carefree, keep smiling, and I will see you in the next video. This is Crown, signing off.